Hi, guys. Welcome to the Mike Lenoci Show. I'm excited to bring you a new format for my show. We will have interviews with former players, current players in the NFL, maybe some NBA players, mostly covering the NFL news. A lot of the information I am going to talk about are opinions formed based off of the information I received from my favorite sports shows. A lot of the shows I watch are Pat McAfee, The Rich Eisen Show, Pro Football Talk with Mike Florio and Chris Sims, and occasionally a little Colin Cowherd, The Herd. Okay, so those are kind of the four big shows that I watch. I gather my information from those shows, and then, I will form my own opinion. Do I have any inside sources? Probably not. I know some people that work for a couple teams. My goal is to kind of bring interviews from current players and former NFL players and maybe some basketball players. And we get to see a different side of them that you normally wouldn't see because they're in press conferences or they are on bigger shows with bigger platforms where maybe there's a lot of eyes and they can't necessarily be themselves or feel comfortable being themselves. I also want to ask questions that a fan might want to know, but more let us inside the brain and personality of an athlete. I think that would be interesting, and that is my goal with the show. And I hope to build this with you guys. So everybody who is already subscribed, I appreciate that already, but for the new people, obviously, I would love for you guys to like and subscribe and always comment on all the new upcoming videos. That would mean the most to me. So basically, this is just an intro video to kind of introduce myself and introduce the page and the new format of the page and let you guys know what to expect going forward. I obviously will also be doing recaps of all the Miami Dolphin games and continue to do that because I am a fanatic of the Miami Dolphins. I like to watch film, I like to watch previous games, and I like to talk about them a lot. But I also like to talk about a lot of other teams and a lot of other players and what's happening around the league. There's a lot of things that are exciting that are happening. Obviously, the Miami Dolphins are what I am more excited about because we have, that's my team. I love the Dolphins, and mostly we'll cover the Dolphins, but I also want to be able to cover a bunch of other teams because sometimes the Dolphins don't make it very far in the playoffs, or they haven't in previous years. Right now is the beginning of free agency. Miami Dolphins are making some splashes again. Clearly, they are all in. A lot of us are wondering, is Tua the answer? And I think that's something that we won't have the answer to. We won't have the answer to that question for a while because it all lies on his health. Clearly, the organization believes that they can win now with him, and they believe that they can protect him and help him prevent himself from getting further head injuries, obviously. Do I think there's a backup plan? I do. And I don't think they're going to admit it, but I think it's very obvious that if you're sitting in week 10 and something happens to Tua, you're a phone call away from Tom Brady and an elite offense and an elite defense. With the people we've added on defense, with Fangio, a head coach of a defense that is expected to be elite, and arguably one of the best secondaries in football already, without Jordan Poyer, assuming we get him, that's in the rumblings, okay? You got to assume that we are going to be one of the favorites in Vegas heading into the new season. I would expect that. I'm not saying we're going to be the favorites, but I would expect us to be in the top 5 to 7 teams favored to win the Super Bowl. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being delusional. I'm saying I think there's also more weapons that will be added offensively. For instance, a running back. Who's to say? But when Tua was healthy, this offense was elite, and I think it's something to be excited about. As a Dolphin fan, you have to be concerned. I have been stressing all offseason that, hey, we should probably add a very good backup quarterback, someone that can definitely win games or work well in our system. Now, with what we have, we signed Mike White. He had some magical games with the Jets. Now, maybe they saw something in Mike White that they think he will fit easily or smoothly in Mike McDaniel offense. You have to assume that. And they got it for a lower price than what they were paying Bridgewater last year, who clearly underperformed for us. That's why I go back to the third option, which it's Skylar Thompson is going to be our third string. But if something were to happen to Tua, and I got to assume if he is getting another concussion, it is not going to be a 1 to 2 week situation. It could drastically be something where like it's career ending, or they have to have him out for more than a month, where they can pick up the phone and potentially call Tom Brady, which it isn't a hard situation for him. If he's sitting in South Florida and it's week 11 and the Dolphins are 7-3 and they're in the driver's seat for a potential home playoff game, and all he has to do is kind of sit in the pocket, dump the ball off to some running backs, run the ball 20 times a game, and then throw a couple deep passes to Tyreek and Waddle with a defense that is going to be very good. I think it's a situation where Tom Brady would be like, why not? If he only has to play 7 games or 8 games, something to think about and something to be excited about. And I think that is why they kind of went with Mike White. And I don't think that they'll ever publicly say it, but who knows what kind of conversations are happening behind closed doors between the owners and the minority owners and the people who in the front office that are kind of friendly with Tom Brady. There's been stories that he has close ties to people that are minority owners with the Dolphins. And the situation looks very, very pleasing for someone who is in Tom Brady's situation, who doesn't want to have to require a lot. And might I add, and I saw this on Twitter, would it be easy to pick up the phone and go, hey, Rob Gronkowski, do you want to play 6 games for a team that needs a tight end? Assuming Mike Gesicki hits the free agency market, and which at this point they haven't franchise tagged him, so he is a free agent. And I don't see them signing him long term, so I see him being somewhere else next year. And that's sad because he's one of my favorite Miami Dolphin players in recent years. So kind of just a brief situation. Let's just talk about the Lamar situation right now. We could talk about Lamar Jackson and what I think has happened. A lot of people think the NFL is colluding against Lamar Jackson because he doesn't have an agent. Is that true? It could be. It very well could be. But like it's presented on a lot of other shows, there's no way to prove that. The thing about with Lamar is people forget he's only played like 1 game in December in 2 years. He is just as injury prone as Tua or Garoppolo. So you could argue that maybe that's why you don't want to put a lot of money into quarterbacks who are not as pocket quarterback friendly as the rest of the league, or they rely on their legs a lot. And there's been multiple leg injuries. So the guaranteed contract of over $200 million is risky. How are you going to build around that? And, if you're the Ravens, you almost beat the Bengals in the playoffs without Lamar. I'm just saying I like the move they did. I'm not necessarily someone to jump on the Lamar train. I think people getting mad that all these teams saying they're publicly out is outrageous because I think they have a legitimate argument. As a Miami Dolphin fan, I'm not sure I would want to give up 2 first-round picks and all that cap space to Adam. If we did, I guarantee we wouldn't be able to get people like Ramsey or whatever other big free agents we expect to come our way. Why not ride it out 2 more years with Tua? Would I have picked up his 5th option? Maybe not. I would have made a prove-it year. But I guess if he has a great year, then you got him very cheap for his 5th year. I just think the Lamar thing is, yes, he was MVP, but his record in the playoffs, I would trade that MVP for more playoff wins. Would you, up to this point, rather have Josh Allen and his career and his stats, or Lamar Jackson and his career and his stats? I feel like the majority of people would argue Josh Allen. So that removes the whole MVP argument. He won MVP. He won MVP because he did something spectacular with his legs, not his arm. It was the combination of what he did with his legs and his arm. Now, a lot of his injuries have become from his legs. Something to be concerned about. Not necessarily want to tie myself to a 5, 6, 7-year deal, $200 million guarantee with Lamar Jackson. That's all I'm saying. For me, it's understandable, and I would rather kind of feel it out and not offer 2 first-round picks, because if I had 2 first-round picks to offer, I would rather be like Carolina and move up and try to get a young guy in that 4 to 5 year range where he has a smaller contract, and if he's the guy, we can win and build around him. Just some thoughts I had. But either way, I'm excited. I'm going to bring on a bunch of different comedians on here and some athletes, and we're going to interview people, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and I want you guys to be excited with me. So make sure you like and subscribe to this channel, The Mike Lenoci Show, and we hope to build this together, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll see you guys next week and the week after that, and the week after that. We have a lot to get into, and, you know, the thing that the NFL's great at, they keep the season going on all year long, but we will talk about basketball a little bit because the playoffs are right around the corner, and maybe we'll actually have some people here to talk about baseball. Thank you guys, and we appreciate it. Goodbye. Hi guys, thanks for watching. For more videos, subscribe here, and look out for new videos weekly on The Mike Lenoci Show.